Before this video begins, Lamar Peters lost the 1v1 and Zaytov won the 1v1. You'd be a fool to say otherwise. None of what I'm going to say is excusing the loss or trying to come up with mental gymnastics to say that, oh, it was only because this reason or if Lamar did that, like he lost. Nobody's coming up with excuses. Nobody's trying to take the win away from Zay or take credit away from Zay. Just watch the video, please. So I rewatched the game from Judgment Day of LP versus Zay, and despite the score, I feel like a lot of people have the wrong idea based on the outcome of the game. LP actually looks very good, and it's just that he was playing against Zay. So I'm making this video in the context of, is LP a what if, in the sense of he's not going to be able to rematch Street Stars anytime soon, and it will take away from his chances at being perceived as the number one 1v1 player. Not, is LP going to get in shape? So I'm going to be making this video to give a whole picture on the player with the most public demand and discourse surrounding their name, Lamar Peters. LP is someone who runs his mouth and generates hype around his name by talking trash and backing up his trash talk with elite handles and shot-making abilities. With the fastest first step on the scene, an elite bag, fearless shooting, Lamar stepped onto the scene during the height of the Street Stars' career. Nas and Zay were seen as being on a whole other level, while Scoob was becoming scarily good, beating Rob in pay-per-view with an upset win and just dominating on tour. Lamar Peters, being an NBA draft pick and a guard who, based on the eye test, was perceived as someone who is more talented than anyone on the scene, made his presence known. He claimed that he would take over and was even silencing the former loudest player on the scene, Uncle Scoob. Not only that, his first game on YouTube was him locking up Nazir Kaur, which is basically someone no one was able to do.
To Lamar.
Oh yeah,
And
they've
Lamar
been
been
waiting.
talking a lot of all three have been talking a lot to each other. So.
They've been waiting on this.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Off the Droop. We got a tag team 1v1 between four juggernauts.
Then breaking ankles and getting clips on Cam and Day over on the next chapter, LP looked promising, with B. Ellis hyping his name up as well. And a lot of the community even had Lamar Peters destroying Scoob in their upcoming pay-per-view matchup. That was until he didn't. He would start the game off 11-0 and even made Scoob take a timeout. But then Scoob ended up being up by halftime. It was obvious. Lamar was gassed out. And after a hard-fought battle, he lost to Scoob. After all the trash he talked, he would be the one getting trolled. But that wouldn't stop him. Lamar went on a generational run after the Scoob lost. He started by beating the pro, ISO Hove, and then he would beat an actual Street Star member, Bruce, 30-22. He would win his next pay-per-view against JQ and would then go on a 90-6 run across his next 3 games. He had earned his respect back and was yet again the guy everyone thought could take over. This narrative was especially amplified after Nas was politicking and avoiding playing Lamar in a 1v1, even after LP and Zay beat Nas and Nitty in a 2v2, who before that was an undefeated duo. Lamar then made light work of Bird, a formerly respected player who gave even Zay a tough game, and beat the likes of Burke, Scar, and Vern. This all came into question, though, when Lamar played against a former NBA player, Joseph Lewis, a game with a controversial ending. Lamar technically won, but scored the final point by dribbling 5 times, when you can only dribble 4 times. The call was overturned after the game was called, and Lamar refused to get back on the court. The win was handed over to Joseph, who won 29-28 on technicality. During this game, Lamar's stamina came back into question as he allowed Joseph to score 4 threes by standing and watching him shoot. Despite this, he went into this upcoming game against Zay with a 51-49% public opinion favoring his side. That says a lot when you're playing against the consensus number 2 and arguably best player in the entire space. Lamar even promised that he had built his stamina up, would get more into his bag, and was so confident that he bet $25,000 that he would win this game. When the day came, Lamar lost 20-30. Now, people don't trust Lamar's trash talk and doubt his abilities as a top player. He let Zay shoot and still looked tired despite saying that his stamina was built up. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the game was a lot closer than they think. After rewatching the game multiple times, I think that public opinion would have Zay winning 9 out of the 10 times if they were to rematch. But personally, I think it's more like 55-45 Zay's way. And I'll show you why with actual game stats. So first we're going to look at LP stats and then we're going to look at Zay stats. So we're going to look at the actual game stats by like threes, twos, free throws made, fouls committed, and then I'm going to put up specific feats that are kind of relevant to LP and then specific feats that are relevant to Zay. So in terms of good three-point shots missed by LP, and so I mentioned this because shooting the three is very integral to Lamar's game. He's a 40% shooter outside of ones, so it's a very, very strong suit of his game. Very definite, very obvious, strong suit. By good three-point shots missed, shots where enough and appropriate room was granted to Lamar, and shots that were extremely close to being made, whether it spun around the rim or hit the rim but just didn't go in. Good shot attempts, appropriate shot attempts that Lamar usually hits but didn't. That's what I mean by good three-point shots missed. And there were 8 of them, including one foul that was committed by Zay when the score was 22-16. Lamar had 16 physical stops on Zay that were not fouls. On the other hand, LP had 9 dumb three-point attempts. And by dumb three-point attempts, I simply mean three-point shots that were not appropriate to take, where he just blatantly did not have enough room to take the three, and essentially just prayer shots, right? And finally, the other stat that I thought was noteworthy was that LP had allowed Zay to shoot 9 threes, to which Zay made 4 of them. By allowed, I mean providing Zay with more than enough space to feel comfortable shooting a 3 without any sort of meaningful contest. Now looking at Zay, who had a total of 9 physical stops on Lamar that weren't fouls. He had a total of 16 in the paint misses. And I'm bringing up in the paint misses for Zay because just like the 3 is very important to LP's game, being in the paint is very integral to Zay's game and plays heavily to his strengths as a player. Zay only shot 1 dumb shot attempt versus LP's 9. And the amount of points that Zay allowed, quote unquote, Lamar to score was a grand total of 0 versus LP allowing Zay to attempt to score 9 points, with 4 of those points being made. So now looking at the actual in-game stats for Lamar, he made 3 threes, he made 4 twos, he made 3 out of his 7 free throws, and he had committed 9 fouls. He had a total of 24 misses, which included stops. So the difference for me between stops and a miss, and no, I don't think they're the same thing. A miss is just the opponent missing the shot regardless of the opponent's defense. A stop is when a player is prevented from scoring, whether the shot attempt goes up or not, primarily because of the defense that was played by the opposing player. So a miss is more so on the offense, and a stop is more so on the defense. That's the difference for me. Then looking at Zay's stats, Zay made 4 threes. He made 8 twos, 2 of which were and ones. He made 2 out of his 5 free throws, and he had committed 8 fouls. He missed a total of 28 buckets, which included stops. Most notably, now here's for the elephant in the room. When did Lamar get tired? He got tired around the 16-9 mark, and he got even more visibly tired around the 22-18 mark. When did Zay get tired? He didn't. By tired, I mean when are you, 1, noticeably fatigued, and 2, are making compromises that affect your game due to you attempting to conserve energy. From this game, we can deduce a couple of things. For one, it wasn't as one sided as the community made it seem. Lamar had more stops and less misses, and throughout watching the game, had several opportunities to make it a lot closer. What most notably sealed the deal for Lamar during this matchup was that out of the 9 3-point attempts from Zay, Lamar contested none of them, allowing Zay to hit 4 of them, getting 12 easy points. These weren't points that Zay just got by outplaying Lamar, getting enough space to shoot, and then shooting on even the most basic of levels, such as the jab 3. Lamar was just ignorant and gave Zay all of those shots. I was even willing to give LP some credit because Zay is so forceful going downhill that you have to give him at least some space to shoot in order to meet him on his first 2 steps. This sometimes creates opportunities for Zay to shoot, with the opponent justifiably giving Zay the space to do so. However, this simply wasn't the case during Lamar's game. All of those shots were blatant threes, which were solely afforded to Zay due to Lamar giving up the space without a problem. The second flaw was that Lamar was missing his 3-point shots, which are integral to his game. I counted 8 shot attempts that were genuinely good looks where Lamar had enough space to make a 3 he usually makes, but didn't. These shots were simply unlucky shots that Lamar usually hits. Not to make any excuses for him, you need to make your shots, not almost make them. With this in mind, there were 8 good 3 attempts where Lamar successfully outplayed Zay and had a good look from 3. But for every one of those shot attempts, there was another terrible 3-point shot attempt. I counted 9 3-point shots that Lamar took, which he had no business taking. Lamar would either catch and shoot without Zay moving, or would jab and then shoot without Zay backing up in the slightest. There was even an instance where he jabbed and shot the ball while Zay took a step up. That's not bad luck like the other 8 shots. That's low 1v1 IQ and basically a free turnover for Zay. I mean, if you hit those, that's another story, but considering that even when you outplayed Zay and got enough space to shoot, you weren't hitting those, what makes you think that you're going to hit the dumb shots? When we look at Zay, there was only one bad shot that Zay took, and that was only questionably poor due to Zay usually making that kind of shot. But for me, it looked too rushed and desperate. They both committed a similar amount of fouling and both had a similar free throw percentage in terms of makes to misses. Lamar's strength is his 3-point shot, which he made 3 out of 20 threes, or 15% of the shots that he attempted. The low number is as low as it is because half the shots that he did attempt were just stupid. Zay's strength is getting to the paint, which he made 8 out of the 24 shots that he took while in the paint, which is 33% to Lamar's 15%. And if you can stop Zay 16 times while in the paint out of 24 attempts, that's pretty damn good. What this breakdown shows us is that Lamar lost this game due to his shot not falling, and then taking dumb shots, and then also allowing Zay to score 12 free points. Now, what about Lamar's stamina? I visually noticed Lamar get tired around the 16-9 mark and get really tired around the 22-18 mark. Meanwhile, Zay, on the other hand, did not get tired throughout the course of the entire game. Would a lot of these issues be circumvented by Lamar building his stamina up professionally and not solely on his own? Obviously. But what is undeniable is that Zay didn't just beat Lamar. Lamar and Zay beat Lamar. Despite the score difference, Lamar was handling Zay's downhill movements as well as you could, even better than Rob did, which is the only person who has ever beaten Zay at this point in time. What this game shows is what is keeping Lamar out of the top 3 or being able to contend with those within it. He needs better 1v1 IQ and shot selection. And yes, he does need the stamina to play correctly at all times, not just sometimes. This is the 4th game where LP gave the opponent 10 plus points by letting them shoot. If you want to be top tier in this space, it's going to require a professional amount of stamina in order to play correctly throughout the entire duration of the 1v1 game. No less a 1v1 game where you're playing against someone like Scoob or Zay. LP has learned the same lesson twice. and almost 3 times now. While I do think his stamina has improved, it hasn't improved exponentially enough to clean up his bad habits and allowing him to play consistently. Will you be able to go downhill when your shot isn't falling? Or will you settle with prayer threes? Will you put a hand up? Will you be able to play consistently against someone who can shoot but is slower than you, like Joseph Lewis? LP is a case study of someone who has top 3 potential, but until he trains the right way, it'll remain just that, potential. I think a lot of people don't realize that he actually played a decent game against Zay, and it took someone as good as Zay to exploit LP's shortcomings. People say LP needs to play Scar and lower tier players. I just genuinely think that those people who are saying that aren't paying enough attention. Because in spite of his loss, LP does look better and is on track to improvement. Hopefully he improves in the correct way so we can see him live up to the hype that's around his name.